Hey guys, welcome to a quick build guide for my Burning Arrow Chieftain for the Heist League. This is some T16 footage. At the end of the build guide there'll be some more maps or probably a Chimera run. Start off by going over the gear. Best in slot bow is going to be Zoss Nurture. You can get a 5-link version of this really cheap, like 10, 12 chaos. Not really required, but too good to pass up. Other uniques that we use are the Signal Fire. The physical damage added as extra fire is the important stat line here, and that does roll, so try to get a good roll on that. Next we use a Replica Emberwake. This reduces the ignite duration, but also makes our ignites deal damage faster. We stack that with the Diet and Dawn, which is more faster ignites, as well as some life and res. Rest of the gear is rares. You can go as cheap or as expensive as you want. Make sure you get accuracy on your helmet and your spare ring. Um, Ideally, you'll have it on your amulet too. I just forgot when I picked this one. Boots, you can get more of the faster ignites. It's a hunter mod. And then on gloves, if you can get a good pair with flammability on hit, helps out our links a little bit. Um, I'm able to run Second Wind with Enduring Cry on my chest, as well as a Combustion, Arcanist Brand, Wave of Conviction, and Culling Strike. If you don't have the flammability on hit, you'll want to run this in a 5-link with Hex Touch and Flammability. You'll have to self-cast that as well, probably. And then for your 6-link bow, Awaken Burning Damage, Awaken Unbound Ailments. I don't use the Awaken version here because the Divergent gives you some Mana Leech, which we do need. It's a slight DPS loss, but it's a nice quality of life. Then we got GMP. You can also run Greater Valley. If I'm running a corridor type map, I'll run Greater Valley. For bosses, I'll switch to Deadly Ailments. And then we got Immolate. And I also run Divergent Burning Arrow, which gives you 2 to pierce. I got another one on my gloves, another pierce on my helmet, so we pierce 4 enemies. If you don't care about the pierce or you're happy with just the 2, you can run a Vow Burning Arrow, get the little bit more DPS. However, the Vow portion of it isn't really that beneficial on things like Sirius and Shaper, just because you can't get the souls. On the tree, there's 2 ascendancy options for the last one. These are pretty much going to be the same no matter what. I take Valauco just because it gives me a little bit of defense on top of 15% more damage. Whenever we lose an endurance charge, which we can trigger that with a mortal call, I keep mine on cooldown. You could self-cast it if you want to be able to turn it on and off. You could also use this. We don't really gain anything from the conversion, but the every 10 seconds gain 100% of physical damage as extra fire damage for 4 seconds. It's a huge boost to DPS. I just don't like the bursty nature of it and that it doesn't provide any defense. Other than that, we're going to grab basically life, fire damage, elemental damage, and a little bit of accuracy, along with some jewel nodes. So coming down here, I did get call to arms just so I could throw Enduring Cry on my left click. Other than that, damage, life, life, accuracy, life, damage, life. This is a good cluster to pick up. Get DPS on both sides. I do run the reservation nodes. You can get by without them, but it just gives you a little bit more of a buffer. For cluster jewels, you're going to want to run at least Burning Bright. That's the most important one. I got a Smoking Remains on mine just because that's what rolled with it. Any of the fire exposure ones, really any of them are fairly useful. For the mediums, these are a little more important. You're going to want to run 2 blowbacks. This gets you an additional 30% faster ignite. And then I got mine with 2 burning brights on there as well. If you need the life, you can swap these out for fettles. I pretty much got all the same jewel accuracy, maximum life, and burning damage. These aren't the best. They were just super cheap. I think I paid 10 chaos or less for all of them. Down here, you're going to want to use Transcendent Mind. It's a little more pricey, but you end up getting a 18 damage overtime multiplier. Doesn't really matter about the intelligence. We have plenty. A little more life here. Then come down here for some more life and some help with resistances and elemental damage. Look at Path of Building. This is my character right now. I'm sitting at just under 6 million damage. That is with the less DPS of the two ascendancies. With everything min-maxed and switching ascendancies, you can get to about 8 million DPS. But you end up being a little more squishy. For alt quality jewels, or gems rather, the only ones that are really important are, if you want the extra clear, the Divergent Burning Arrow, Divergent Elemental Damage with attacks for the Mana Leech. These don't matter. These don't matter. You can run the alt versions of these. They give you a little bit of a bonus. We do try to stack a little bit of ignite duration or skill effect duration, just because our ignites are pretty quick. Let's see here. 1.73 seconds for Burning Arrow. Now the secondary debuff of Burning Arrow, I don't think it says here, but it has a 4-second separate timer. A lot of people are going to want to run Swift Affliction over Unbound Ailments, and it's, in my personal experience, not going to be that good of a deal, because if you take a look, with this on, we go down to a 0.38 ignite, and that's a little bit ridiculous to keep on top of. You got to pretty much stand at the boss and face tank them to keep hitting them. With Unbound Ailments, you're able to get a little bit of room in between, and you don't have to sit there on top of them the entire time, since you got a couple seconds in between your ignites. And as far as the configurations, I really don't have anything on. Loss of endurance charge in the past 8 seconds, because we can pretty much toggle that with Immortal Call. Projectile travel through the flame wall, that's easy enough. And then exposure type is fire, enemies obviously ignited, and covered in ash because we're a chieftain. For the Arcanist brand setup, this is, I pretty much just use it for bosses. Throw it out there, it'll put the Wave of Conviction debuff on them for negative 25%. It'll also put the Combustion debuff on them for negative 19, and then some Culling Strike. That way we can run Immolate on our main link. And then we have Blink Arrow just for mobility. I got it on Blood Magic just to help out with the mana. Flammability from the gloves. Mortal Call, Val Molten Shell, casting damage taken and duration. I run these semi-leveled, not quite as low as 1, just because we do have a little bit of health. And then obviously Enduring Crown, Second Wind. And then I also have a bit more of a min-maxed version, which you can push just a little bit over 8 million DPS with level 21 gems everywhere, a little bit more on the jewels, some double corruption, single corruption, stuff like that. The helm enchant is a pretty decent amount of damage. I haven't gotten it yet on my own helmet. This is another really good corrupt to go for. The additional arrow obviously is nice, but the gain 10 physicals, extra fire, that's another really good multiplier. Other than that, I think that pretty much covers everything. There'll be a link to the forum guide in the description, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks, guys.
True self can be seen by all.